Good morning, beautiful people. It is Monday, January 27th, 2020. And yesterday, for the first time in my life, I cried real tears for the passing of a human that I've never met before. You know how people say, I feel like I'm having a bad dream. I never knew what that meant. I'd experienced bad things before, but never once in my life did I think, this can't be real. Kobe's passing yesterday felt like it wasn't real. This man who has been not only a basketball legend and a was an icon, tragically passed away out of the middle of nowhere alongside his daughter at the age of 41. She was at the age of 13, and obviously way too soon for all involved. I never met Kobe. I was never lucky enough to get to hear him speak or see him motivate folks or dap him up. I just watched him from afar like the rest of the world. When I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we didn't have an NBA team. And ever since I was a kid, I always struggled falling asleep at night, so my mom and dad got me a TV to put in my room so I would stop, annoying them. I became a Laker fan because I fell asleep on most nights alongside them, dealing L's to the rest of the NBA. Kobe was a staple of my childhood. I was 9 years old when he got drafted to the Lakers. He was an inspiration of my competitiveness, a trailblazer of a focus on dominance that I hope to one day acquire. His stats on the court are obviously outlandish. 18-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 5-time champ, multiple All-Defense team, NBA MVP, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a GOAT through and through while doing it and being the face of the City of Angels since the age of 18. Drafted when he was 17. When he retired, he said he was at peace. He had accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish in the sport. For 20 years, he gave his soul to the game. He actually dropped 60 in his swan song, showing that he didn't have to retire. He wanted to. He wanted to change his focus. I appreciated that. I loved that. I couldn't wait to watch this man whose Mamba mentality was envied by the other greats in folklore amongst legends. Turn that Mamba focus to other things. I was excited to see what great things he would bring to our world and our society. One of the world's greatest minds and mindsets. Of course, he'd go on to win an Academy Award just momentarily after. He created content. He gave speeches to folks in an attempt to make them better. He invested in businesses, started his own businesses. But what I think we all loved most was watching him turn his focus and watching clips of his family going to Laker games. The videos of him and his daughters behind the scenes. The glimpses of Kobe enjoying the chapter of his life where he no longer needed to be a competitive robot anymore. He no longer needed to be a savage. The fulfillment he so obviously had in being a super dad is what I enjoyed most about his retirement. Then, out of nowhere, this icon, alongside his pride and joy, gone. First, the TMZ report, then some conflicting reports, then ultimately an entire world had an understanding that a legendary life was lost in an unthinkable accident. It's moments like these that reset the natural human negative instinct. It's moments like these when life gets put into perspective. It's moments like these where we all realize that the petty stuff in our life that we allowed to sway our moods, direct our thoughts, or alter our decisions are all literally absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of life. It's moments like these that remind us all that this all can end at any given moment. Doesn't matter how many buckets you've made, how many championships you've won, how many lives you've impacted. It can all end at any time. Jay Williams spoke yesterday on ESPN. Now, he broke an FCC violation, but what he said was it's time to let some stuff go. And I couldn't agree more with him. So I thank Kobe for what he taught me about commitment to greatness and love of sport and passionate parenting while he was here on this earth. And in his passing, I appreciate him reteaching me that this life is special and very, very, very fragile. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays, because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come. Rest in peace to the GOAT, his daughter Gianna, and the 7 others that were tragically passed away yesterday. But please recognize that the legend of Kobe will never, ever, ever die. It was a tough one yesterday, I think, for everybody. And to be honest, I heard Stephen A. Smith say this morning. Now, he was friends with him and a lot of people on TV. I didn't want to do a show today. I did not want to speak to humans today. I did not want to. Yesterday, I was with my lady. I was at a celebration of life for one of her best friends that passed away whenever the news broke about this. And it was just one of those things where perspective gets placed quickly in moments like these, and tears fell from my face. And then I remembered that it is our job, since we have this platform, to celebrate the hell out of the life that was Kobe. So that's what we'll do today. We'll have reactions from the world. We'll have my favorite Kobe moments. We'll take some phone calls, and we'll try to get through this as a team in the world of sports losing one of its greatest figures of all time. Let's get to a break. We'll be back on the other side. 1-833-622-3331 if you want to join the conversation. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Somber, January 27th, 2020.
Have a good time. Enjoy life. And it's life is too short to get bogged down, to be discouraged, or you have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, smile, and just keep on rolling.
Everybody at home, you give that person next to you whatever thing you have wrong in your life with them. If this might be small or big, let that shit go. Doesn't matter. I know I curse. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
None of that stuff matters, man.
You know, he means a lot to me, obviously. You know, he was such a great opponent.
He went beyond great playing. He was a competitor that goes unmatched. And that's what made him, as a player, so attractive to everybody, that focus.
As Trey peels off the warm-up in honor of his dearly departed friend, Kobe Bryant.
The New York Knicks joined the NBA family in mourning the devastating loss of beloved NBA and global icon Kobe Bryant.
He's a great leader. He's a great champion. He's a great person. If you got a chance to know Kobe, you got a chance to really know Kobe, there's nobody better, man.
When other people were taking vacations, he was studying. When other people were taking breaks, he was working out. That was his entire mentality.
Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man.
And she looks up and she looks at it, and she closes her eyes, and she takes a couple deep breaths. She just completely calms down. She goes to the free throw line, drains them, wins the game. And I was like, all right, man. All right.
24-second shot clock, of course, Kobe Bryant, number 24.
Five-time champion, two-time finals MVP, NBA MVP, Academy Award winner. He was a well-rounded man and gone way too soon.
Hey, you gotta have a boy. You and V gotta have a boy, man. You have somebody carry on the tradition, the legacy. She's like, "Oi, I got this." You know, boy, for that, I got you. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, Kobe.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on Monday, January 27th, 2020. Yesterday, the world was rattled with the news that Kobe Bryant passed away. This transcended sports, but the sports world hadn't experienced anything like this in my lifetime. I've never experienced anything like this. This is something where you heard from everybody, came out of the woodwork about pretty similar things to what I said there in the first 8 minutes of the show. It's like even watching from afar without knowing him, he inspired probably every professional athlete that you see today. His mentality, the Mamba mentality that everybody knows about and hears about, was something that was envied and aspired to be like by almost every athlete that you see out there. Watching him just flip a switch into becoming this absolute savage was something that everybody wished they could do. And obviously, the world reacted to Kobe Bryant passing yesterday. Greg Popovich, Hall of Fame coach for the San Antonio Spurs, who had to run into Kobe Bryant on a very regular basis, had this to say after their loss just yesterday.
Good game, tough loss, who cares? Most importantly, appreciate you all letting the locker room be tonight. Everybody's pretty emotional about the tragedy with Kobe, and all of us know what a great player he was, but he went beyond great playing. He was a competitor that goes unmatched, and it's what made him as a player so attractive to everybody, that focus, that competitiveness, that will to win. And even more importantly than that, we all feel a deep sense of loss for what he meant to all of us in so many ways, and so many millions of people loved him for so many different reasons. It's just a tragic thing that there are no words that can describe how everybody feels about it. So we all think about the family and the process that they're going to be going through now. That's where all our thoughts should be.
Yesterday, there were obviously shots of the Spurs and the
Raptors?
No, I forget who it was.
Yeah, it was.
Raptors. They did the 24-second tribute at the beginning, which was beautiful. There were shots of Tim Duncan crying on the sideline there, on the bench there. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs, Greg Popovich, and Kobe Bryant obviously have a storied history. But just like that, in moments like this, it doesn't matter if you're rivals, competitors. Whenever you see somebody pass like this, it is such it's a catastrophic event in the sports world. Doc Rivers, head coach of the LA Clippers, the other team in LA, had this to say.
I haven't. Listen. I don't know. I just don't have a lot to say. The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, known him a long time. And, he means a lot to me, obviously. He was such a great opponent, It's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have. The Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans. It's funny. I was getting to know him more since he retired. This is a tough one. We have to go play. The news is just so devastating for Vanessa and his family, and there's just so many people he touched, And, you know, it's looking at my young players and seeing how emotional they are. They didn't even know him, you know, and it just tells you how far his reach was. So, and this is just shocking news for all of us. And sorry, I don't have a lot to say. I just can't. I have to go talk to a team before a game and tell them to play a game.
That's gut-wrenching there. These people who are these super alphas, these people who are supposed to be the most strong humans on earth, professional athletes, hard-nosed coaches. Doc Rivers gets after it every once in a while. Brought to tears over the passing of a human and the fragility of life is something that I think I've tried to say this ever since I retired, that it's not a video game, right? It's not a video game. Not every day the rating that you are on Madden is how you're going to show up at practice. Not every day your rating that you are on NBA 2K is how you're going to show up on the court for a game. There's humans out there, and that's the biggest difference. And that's fans view athletes as this one thing because that's what they are, superhumans, the ability to do things that the most of the fans could only dream of doing. They're supposed to portray themselves in a certain image. And then as soon as something like this happens, we all learn that we all grieve. We all have feelings. We all have emotions. We all poop the same. We're all humans in this thing. And I think that is the biggest takeaway from something like this. Aside from me crying real tears about the passing of a human I'd never met before, which has never happened before, ever. That has never happened for me ever. To be honest, couldn't tell you the last time I cried. And my lady says it's because I didn't watch any Disney movies growing up, so I don't have any feelings or whatever. But it's honestly just because I think the way I compartmentalize things are different than what other people do. I think I choose to look for the positive in every situation. I try my absolute best to look for the positive in every single situation, just because I feel like it's a better way to go about things. But yesterday, whenever that news was first reported, then conflicting reports came out that his entire family was with him, and then all this other stuff was said. I mean, it was a punch directly into my gut. I mean, it was a punch directly into my gut. And then whenever you see Doc Rivers and Popovich and Jay Williams and Jalen Rose and these people on television who look to be just these stone cold individuals have the same exact feelings as me, it was almost a moment of like, damn, this guy did it with his life. This guy reached people. This guy lived in a manner that taught people that he had never met before how to be better at what they do. Now, granted, I'm not 100% sure how the regular world feels that doesn't love sports. I assume that the whole entire city of Los Angeles is in a massive state of mourning right now because he was the face of Los Angeles for a long time. But anybody that's in sports, if you saw the way this dude worked and prepared and then the father he became after, maybe he was this type of father the entire time, but the father we got to witness after he retired, it was just heartbreaking to know that this guy had a lot more in store for the world than what he just did on the court. This guy who had this mentality that made him the most dominant player in a sport that dominant players play in was going to go on and focus on other things in life and make the world a better place, make our society a better place. He was going to raise his kids in beautiful fashion. Gianna was probably going to be the next superstar of women's basketball. She was already shoulder shrugging and shoving off on Kobe Bryant. She was already going one-on-one with the guy who nobody wanted to go one-on-one with her entire life. Now, Vanessa, his wife, has 3 other children that have to mourn with this. And our T's and P's obviously are sent out to her, and also the other 7 passengers that passed away. The baseball coach and his family, the pilot, the other mom, the other daughters, the people that were on that helicopter, our T's and P's are with them. But whenever you see this reaction from the sports world and from these humans, this doesn't happen on a very regular occasion. This man was an icon. So much so that Trae Young, very, very young NBA player for the Atlanta Hawks, changed his number to start the game in a tribute to the number 8 Kobe Bryant, and then went on to do, in 24 shots, which was Kobe's other number, scored 45 points. The first player, I think, in NBA history to score 45 points in less than 25 shots. And he had an 81% free throw percentage, which is obviously the most points that Kobe scored in a game. I mean, everything's tied in. Trae Young had this to say after the game yesterday.
Last conversation that you had with Kobe, and maybe even, if not just some of the conversations that, some of the wisdom and whatnot that you kind of soaked up from him and what he shared with you.
Yeah, so one of the last conversations we had, man, he was just telling me how much he's seen my game progress. Man, just been happy for me. Man, just saying how proud he was of me and how he wants me to continue to be a role model for kids growing up, and just for Gigi and all the kids looking up to me, just to continue to inspire these kids and continue to play my heart out. And that's one of the last things he said to me.
So interesting that Trae Young is obviously very young. Greg Popovich has been in the NBA for what seems to be 400 years. It did not matter how old you were. The respect you had for what Kobe, the Mamba mentality, and everything that he did ran deep in all sports. This morning, I woke up earlier than I think I've ever woke up. Now, granted, get up makes me get up at like 3:30 a.m. That is a ridiculous. I didn't do that. I did not do the Mark Wahlberg wake up at 3 a.m., play 9 holes in 25 minutes, work out, read the Bible, that whole thing. But I woke up this morning with this drive to be a better human being. I have no idea why. I think it might be the perspective of knowing that tomorrow is not promised, and that gets shoved in your face immediately whenever things like this happen. But I think it was also like relearning about how Kobe went about the way he did things. When you heard about him waking up at 4 a.m. to work out and shoot, and by the time 7 a.m. came around when most of his teammates were waking up, he already had 3 workouts done, basically. When it came to 20 years of basketball, him always having a chip on his shoulder and going to the gym to put up extra shots. I mean, it was just this constant drive of wanting to be better that was just reintroduced into society yesterday. There's not a lot of Kobe Bryants that will ever exist on this earth. Ever. That's why whenever you hear dumbasses say negative things in his passing, you have to automatically shoo them off from existence forever. Because the good that Kobe brought to the world is something that is really priceless. Just his ability to let people know that, hey, you can go work your ass off and it can all come true. It doesn't matter if you come from the son of an NBA player. It doesn't matter if you moved to Italy as a child because your dad wanted to go play professional basketball over there. Instead of pouting about leaving your friends or having to go somewhere else, instead he just learned the language, picked it up, and became a citizen of their society. Comes back to Philadelphia, obviously a whole new human, a well-cultured human, well-rounded human, speaking different languages, dominates in high school, then gets drafted at the age of 17. His drafting at the age of 17, LeBron came out and said, was a motivator to him, was inspiration to him. We'll have more from LeBron later, but just everything that Kobe did in the sporting world inspired athletes of all types. Baker Mayfield had a response yesterday to this, which I was very surprised by. Kobe, you were my idol, period. Mentality through and through. Thank you. To your family, I wish y'all nothing but the very best. Prayers and thoughts with you don't begin to describe what we want for y'all. Love and respect to number 8 and number 24. Hashtag Mamba mentality. Hashtag Mamba. Baker Mayfield also put up this entire notes section that said his first business acquisition was because of Kobe Bryant. He talked about how talking to Kobe Bryant changed his entire life. So it wasn't just basketball players. It was undersized dudes from Texas that had to walk on to 3 different schools and knew that if you just went to work, good things could potentially happen. Now, will he be able to operate an offense in Cleveland? I mean, the dog pound hopes so. They hope Kevin Stefanski is getting a Kobe Bryant, for the rest of his time. But Kobe Bryant's inspiration didn't stop at basketball. And it didn't stop just in America either. Here's Luka Doncic from Slovenia. This is so sad. Rest in peace. He took a picture with Gianna, Kobe's daughter, just a couple weeks ago, and the person who took the picture was Kobe, and Kobe was speaking Slovenian with Luka and talking about how much he is a role model to Gianna. Luka, this man from a country that I didn't even know existed before he got here, inspired by Kobe Bryant. Then you go over to France. Mbappe, one of the world's greatest soccer players, posts a picture of him and Kobe and says, R.I.P. legend, cry face. Kobe, in the Mamba mentality, had no borders, had no boundaries. It inspired every human that wanted more from their life. It even got to Canada. Now, granted, Canadians can't get into America, we've learned, with our friend Gumpy here, who can't become a citizen of this place. Currently an illegal alien here in our couch. But Kobe's Mamba mentality reached Tavares in Canada. And he said Kobe didn't just inspire basketball players, but all athletes, including myself. His passion for the game, desire for competition, and pursuit of greatness was very inspiring. Never take any moment for granted. Hashtag RIP Mamba and Gianna. Condolences to all families involved. So here's a white guy from Canada that skates on ice, attributing a lot of his success to Kobe Bryant, how Kobe Bryant operated. You got to remember, to get to the top of your sport, no matter what it is, you have to be uber competitive. You have to be. It's just the way it goes. And that's in all aspects of your life, I'd assume. Whenever you saw the other greats and other legends all look at one person's competitive drive, one person's commitment and say, damn, that is the guy. Kobe was the guy. Kobe was the top of the food chain when it came to who people wanted to emulate. Let's go to England. David Beckham, massive right leg. It's taken me hours to work out what to write, and still my words won't ever be enough to describe how I am feeling after the tragic loss of Kobe. This was one special athlete, husband, father, and friend. Having to write these words is hard enough, but also knowing we have lost an amazing human being and his beautiful and talented daughter, Gianna, is heartbreaking. The commitment Kobe showed to his sport was inspiring. To go through the pain and to finish a game like only he could inspired me to try to be better. Sometimes I would only go to games just to watch that clock go down to the last 2 minutes, knowing that we were about to witness something special. Kobe always talked about Vanessa and his beautiful girls and how proud he was of them. Kobe's passion was his family and basketball. He was determined to inspire the next generation of boys and girls to embrace the sport that he loved. His legacy will live on. My family's love and prayers go out to Vanessa and the girls, to Kobe's basketball family, and of course the families of those who were tragically lost with him yesterday. That's such a real thing. Everywhere Kobe went, he sold out. He played against the Pacers. I went and watched just strictly to watch Kobe. It was like at any given moment, he could flip a switch and it was on. Any given moment, the other team could accidentally piss him off, and it was going to happen. We'll have our top Kobe moments here after the next break. But I think the one that was most heart-pressing, the reaction that was most heart-pressing yesterday was from the Big Diesel, a man who was his teammate for a long time. They won together, and there was a beef and a rap battle in drama. And then thankfully, a massive rebonding between two men that I got, and I think the world got to watch, succeed on all levels. Shaq had this to say yesterday. There's no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother Kobe Bryant. I love you, and you will be missed. My condolences go out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now. Now, I assume more reactions will continue to roll out. I think yesterday what the San Antonio Spurs did yesterday with not letting the media in the locker room afterwards was very noble of them. There were some teams that didn't do that. Carmelo Anthony was put in front of a camera yesterday. In no situation they should. Now, there was the conversation, should they cancel the games or not? I'm not sure Kobe would want them to cancel games for him, but I do believe that the locker room scrum after games should have been canceled. I mean, Doc Rivers having to go in front of people and speak, I mean, I don't want to say that's a part of the job, but I don't even think he should have had to do it. I think there should have been a day to allow the players and coaches that are so closely connected to him in the NBA, allow them to get a moment, to get a breath to process this thing, and then put out their official statements on it. Now, that's not the way the world works, I guess, and the media is deserving of getting answers from people about certain things. But I think yesterday there was a lot of people put in unfair positions to give their response. We picked a few there that I very much enjoyed reading yesterday, loved hearing about. I'm sure more and more of them will come out, and I can't wait to hear them. I can't wait to hear how the people that knew Kobe best feel about this whole thing. The stories that'll continue to leak out about things. The story about how Kobe said to Jimmy Kimmel, I believe, that whenever he'd be out in public, fans would come up and say, hey, you and V, talking about Vanessa, his wife, need to have a boy, to carry on this Bryant legacy in basketball. And Gianna would say, no, I got this. That's what I'm here for. Like, as those stories continue to roll out, not only from old interviews that we haven't seen, but also from friends telling stories behind closed doors, I can't wait to learn more about this man. I cannot wait. I am excited. I am pumped about it. And I just wish that we would have been able to see what he would have done with the rest of his life. He was transitioning in such a beautiful fashion. Outspoken, proud parent. Sitting on the sideline with his daughter talking game, talking through things. The behind-the-scenes work he's doing with Gianna and the rest of the family. Winning an Academy Award. All these things. I was just pumped to see his brain focus on something else. We'll never get that. We won't get a chance to hear his Hall of Fame speech about how hard of work he put in. We won't get a chance to learn more and more about him. And that's a shame, because something like that, somebody like that, we should try to learn as much as we can, because I'm not sure there will ever be another one. We got to get to a break. There's this guy in Philadelphia that we've been hearing about for years, and I've been telling you all about his diamonds. If you've ever been to Philly, you've seen it on billboards. You've heard it on the radio. I hate Steven Singer. He's been making it too easy to buy gifts for over 4 decades. Valentine's Day is here. You're probably thinking, I'll just get her flower again. But flowers wilt and end up in a trash can within a week. Give her a gift that lasts as long as your love. A real 24-karat gold-dipped rose from Steven Singer Jewelers. Picture it. A real long-stem rose preserved and dipped in 24-karat pure gold. This real rose will last forever and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Shipped for free in a beautiful gift box with your own personalized message of love. These roses won't wilt. They don't even need water, and they'll remind her each and every day of your love. If this is your first, Steven's Signature Red Rose is a classic and only $59. Go online to IHateStevenSinger.com, click on the roses, and become a hero this Valentine's Day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. We'll be back here on the other side with my favorite Kobe moments, some phone calls, and we'll wrap up hour 1 here. Tough Monday, January 27th. Cherish every single moment. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Look around you. It's a wireless world, and everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds. And you already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, in that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know. And Raycon's latest model, the E25, is their best one yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice, noise-isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, perfect for the on-the-go listening and for taking phone calls. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems. You've heard us talk about the company that was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, Brandy, J.R. Smith are obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Pat. That's buyraycon.com/Pat for 15% off Raycon wireless buds. Buyraycon.com/Pat. Okay, shout out to Raycon. Ray J. Guys lived a wild life. All right, welcome back to a somber Monday, January 27th, the day after a legend passed away in a tragic accident in Calabasas, California. We will now honor said legend with our top 4 moments from this man's on-court career. Kobe Bryant inspired millions and millions of people around the globe with his work ethic, with his Mamba mentality, and in retirement with his ability to not only become a super dad, but embrace and find fulfillment in that while creating content that can make others better. He obviously was taken away far too soon from us, but we will never, ever forget what he did on the basketball court that made the entire world say, damn, that guy's a savage at basketball. We'll start at number 4 of my favorite moments. It came against the Toronto Raptors. It was just a basic day. It was January 22nd, 2006. Everybody thought this was going to be an average basketball game. But Kobe Bryant said, no, I'm going to score 81 points. When he came out of high school, everybody knew he was a scorer. When you hear people talk about him, they say, this guy had no flaws in his offensive game against the Toronto Raptors. And one night in 2006, on January 22nd, he puts up 81 points all by his damn self. It's number 4 for me. Jalen Rose was standing on the other side. Now he had to talk about it yesterday. The ESPN commercial where he orders 81 olives in his martini is still one of my favorite ESPN commercials of all time. Number 3, in his swan song, the last game he will ever play, he proved that he didn't have to retire. He was choosing to retire and drops a quick 60 against Utah Jazz. In the photo that we just showed, a very young Gordon Hayward was standing to his right. He had 3 people around him. Everybody knew in this last game of Kobe Bryant's farewell tour that he was going to put the rock up, and he did 25 or 50 times, going 22 of 50 for a 44% shooting percentage. But who gives a single damn? He dropped 60 in his last game ever, sailed off into the blue sky, and said, you know what I'm going to be? I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to be a content creator. Everything that I wanted to do here in this league, I've accomplished. My number 2 Kobe Bryant on-court moment is one that will never, ever make sense to me. It is one that defies scientific and medical odds. The man, in the middle of a basketball game, ruptured his Achilles. One of the most devastating injuries that an athlete can have. There's no pain. It just sounds like a gunshot goes off behind you, they say. A massive pop happens. And then all of a sudden you can't put weight on your hand or on your foot anymore. It just dangles around while you have to try to walk. You see people get carted off, stretchered off. People's careers end because of it. It's a devastating injury. And what did Kobe Bryant do? Ruptured his Achilles, goes off the court, comes back on, makes 2 free throws, says, I'll see you later. I got about 9 months. I got to go rehab this Achilles. Walks on the court, drains 2 free throws, and then walks back off. Just a savage in all aspects of basketball. And speaking to that point, my favorite basketball moment of all time, not just my favorite Kobe Bryant moment, my favorite basketball moment of all time And this even includes the And One basketball tours. This includes college basketball. This includes the pickup basketball that we played at Boyce Park in Pittsburgh, Rucker. This is my favorite basketball moment I've ever seen. The no flinch gif of Kobe Bryant staring down Barnes as he puts a basketball in a pump fake a millimeter away from his nose and doesn't even budge while staring it down is probably the most savage thing I've ever seen happen in life, maybe even in life. A full pump fake into his, to Barnes' credit. I mean, he stopped that thing. I mean, it was what, a half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch away from busting Kobe Bryant's nose. Kobe didn't even budge. See you later. That'll live on forever, just like Kobe's name will. Those are my top Kobe moments from on the court. I'm happy we could celebrate that. He obviously put up a lot of points on Saturday night in a wild coincidence. LeBron James passed him in scoring and was asked about Kobe Bryant's effect on his, maybe not even game, but his life. And this is what LeBron James said probably, 13 hours before Kobe Bryant passes away.
That, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I was growing up through the ranks when Kobe came into the league. He was, it wasn't a dream of mine to come straight, from high school at that point in time to the NBA. But I was like, wow, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid being able to make that leap, that's pretty damn cool. And as I started playing more ball and I went into high school, the things that he was doing on the floor, I, admired and wanted to be a part of. I went to ABCD camp, and he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could, and I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp. And in 2001, I believe I was playing in New Jersey, and the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all could correct me, was in Philly, right? Yeah, that Saturday, me and Maverick drove to the Intercontinental downtown Philadelphia, and he gave me a pair of his shoes, which I ended up wearing that following night. It was the red, white, and blue Kobe's. I was a 15, and he was a 14, and I wore them anyways. And I sat and just talked to him for a little bit. He gave me the shoes. I rocked them in the game. And it was the same night that we played Oak Hill against Melo. And then I saw what he was able to do the very next night, winning MVP here in Philly. That following night. As I got drafted, I still just admired him. Seeing what he was able to accomplish, winning championships, having, being early in his career where, he learned from the misses that he had against the series against Utah, and he just used that as motivation and got better and better and better to him winning multiple championships, and continued to admire him throughout my high school rank. And then as competitors, just seeing the work ethic that he put into the game. He had zero flaws offensively, zero. You backed off of him, he could shoot the three. You body him up a little bit, he can go around you. He can shoot the mid-range, he can post, he can make free throws. He had zero flaws offensively. And, that's something that I admired as well, just being at a point where the defense will always be at bay, where they couldn't guard you at all offensively, where you just felt like you was just immortal offensively because of your skill set and your work ethic. We take it down to 2008 where we become the Redeem team. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to line up alongside of him. Just admiring him for so many years, and seeing him from afar, and then being able to be in practices with him, and me watching and learning. So on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. The story is just too much. It doesn't make sense. And just to make a long story short, now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from. where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes. He won All-Star Week. It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense, but the universe just puts things in your life, and when you live in the right way, or you just giving everything to whatever you're doing, things happen organically, and it's not supposed to make sense, but it just happens. And I'm happy to be in any conversation with Kobe Bryant, one of the all-time greatest basketball players to ever play, one of the all-time greatest Lakers. The man got 2 jerseys hanging up in Staples Center. It's just crazy.
I mean, when LeBron ended up at the Lakers, everybody wanted a beef between them. This is Kobe's town, Kobe's team. You're never going to be able to live up to what Kobe wanted to do. And once again, I know LeBron has done some dumb things off the court, right? I mean, trying to trademark Taco Tuesday is a criminal offense, right? But in this particular case, LeBron just hits it right on the head. And I would love to know what LeBron's thoughts were when people were telling him, hey, this is Kobe's town. He's probably like, yeah, man, I agree, you know? It sounded like LeBron grew up a massive Kobe fan. And the fact that Kobe had this much influence on all these players, like whether it was personally or just from afar, I think that is why it radiated with the people who weren't even in basketball sport. It's like what Peyton Manning is to football. Peyton Manning, yes, one of the greatest of all time. You can argue that. But he's the guy that writes handwritten letters to people. It feels as if the Manning Passing Academy, he wants people to be better. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady doesn't or anybody else. I'm just saying firsthand what I get to experience. Peyton Manning loved the sport and wanted to see the sport grow. Feels like that's what Kobe was to basketball. And whenever you see that passion and that genuine, authenticity and wanting people to feel better while still being a savage, letting people know, like, hey, I want you to be good, but don't you even think about going against me. You will get it. And in that All-Star game against LeBron, he showed that. Even though him and LeBron have been boys since LeBron's, 15 years old? It's just that's the type of thing that, radiates through the TV. It radiates through the sport. It goes everywhere else. And I am very thankful that I got a chance to be a part of the Kobe era. I'm very thankful that my mentality towards sports and life got to be shaped just a little bit by the Mamba mentality. And I hope and I know that the sports world won't let that disappear. Let's get to one call here. Let's get to Solomon in Panama. Solomon, what's up?
Hi.
What's going on, Solomon?
Hey, Pat, what's up? Thanks for having me on, Very sad about Kobe's passing, He was a legend to the game and to all the sports. Kobe was famous for his man mentality, never break down, give all you got. Coming through in the clutch moments when his team needed it the most. I want to ask you, Pat, was there any moment in your NFL career where you felt like you went into Mamba mode, like you felt you just had to focus and be the best version of yourself because your team was heavily relying on you?
I think the interesting thing, if you ever look at me in my first half versus my second half in everything, I am so much better in the second half than I was in the first half. And I don't know if that has anything to do with what Kobe and having that clutch gene or whatever, but all my big misses that people talk about all come from the first quarter because I probably didn't pay attention enough. In the second half, though, I know it's game time. And I would like to think that maybe Kobe inspired that. Kobe inspired millions and millions of people. And today will be a day we'll always remember as the first day we didn't have the greatest. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. Beautiful people. It is Monday, January 27th, 2020. And yesterday, for the first time in my life, I cried real tears for the passing of a human that I've never met before. You know how people say, I feel like I'm having a bad dream. I never knew what that meant. I'd experienced bad things before, but never once in my life did I think, this can't be real. Kobe's passing yesterday felt like it wasn't real. This man who has been not only a basketball legend and a basketball GOAT, but this man was an icon. Tragically passed away out of the middle of nowhere alongside his daughter at the age of 41. She was at the age of 13, and obviously way too soon for all involved. I never met Kobe. I was never lucky enough to get to hear him speak or see him motivate folks or dap him up. I just watched him from afar like the rest of the world. When I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we didn't have an NBA team. And ever since I was a kid, I always struggled falling asleep at night, so my mom and dad got me a TV to put in my room so I would stop, annoying them. I became a Laker fan because I fell asleep on most nights alongside them, dealing L's to the rest of the NBA. Kobe was a staple of my childhood. I was 9 years old when he got drafted to the Lakers. He was an inspiration of my competitiveness, a trailblazer of a focus on dominance that I hope to one day acquire. His stats on the court are obviously outlandish. 18-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 5-time champ, multiple All-Defense team, NBA MVP, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a GOAT through and through while doing it and being the face of the City of Angels since the age of 18. Drafted when he was 17. When he retired, he said he was at peace. He had accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish in the sport. For 20 years, he gave his soul to the game. He actually dropped 60 in his swan song, showing that he didn't have to retire. He wanted to. He wanted to change his focus. I appreciated that. I loved that. I couldn't wait to watch this man whose Mamba mentality was envied by the other greats in folklore amongst legends. Turn that Mamba focus to other things. I was excited to see what great things he would bring to our world and our society. One of the world's greatest minds and mindsets. Of course, he'd go on to win an Academy Award just momentarily after. He created content. He gave speeches to folks in an attempt to make them better. He invested in businesses, started his own businesses. But what I think we all loved most was watching him turn his focus and watching clips of his family going to Laker games. The videos of him and his daughters behind the scenes. The glimpses of Kobe enjoying the chapter of his life where he no longer needed to be a competitive robot anymore. He no longer needed to be a savage. The fulfillment he so obviously had in being a super dad is what I enjoyed most about his retirement. Then, out of nowhere, this icon, alongside his pride and joy, gone. First the TMZ report, then some conflicting reports, then ultimately an entire world had an understanding that a legendary life was lost in an unthinkable accident. It's moments like these that reset the natural human negative instinct. It's moments like these when life gets put into perspective. It's moments like these where we all realize that the petty stuff in our life that we allowed to sway our moods, direct our thoughts, or alter our decisions are all literally absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of life. It's moments like these that remind us all that this all can end at any given moment. Doesn't matter how many buckets you've made, how many championships you've won, how many lives you've impacted. It can all end at any time. Jay Williams spoke yesterday on ESPN. Now, he broke an FCC violation, but what he said was it's time to let some stuff go. And I couldn't agree more with him. So I thank Kobe for what he taught me about commitment to greatness and love of sport and passionate parenting while he was here on this earth. And in his passing, I appreciate him reteaching me that this life is special and very, very, very fragile. Our essence is not infinite. Let's make our todays better than our yesterdays because we truly have no idea if tomorrow will ever come. Rest in peace to the GOAT, his daughter Gianna, and the 7 others that were tragically passed away yesterday. But please recognize that the legend of Kobe will never, ever, ever die. It was a tough one yesterday, I think, for everybody. And to be honest, I heard Stephen A. Smith say this morning. Now, he was friends with him and a lot of people on TV. I didn't want to do a show today. I did not want to speak to humans today. I did not want to. Yesterday, I was with my lady. I was at a celebration of life for one of her best friends that passed away whenever the news broke about this. And it was just one of those things where perspective gets placed quickly. In moments like these, and tears fell from my face. And then I remembered that it is our job, since we have this platform, to celebrate the hell out of the life that was Kobe. So that's what we'll do today. We'll have reactions from the world. We'll have my favorite Kobe moments. We'll take some phone calls, and we'll try to get through this as a team in the world of sports losing one of its greatest figures of all time. Let's get to a break. We'll be back on the other side. 1-833-622-3331 if you want to join the conversation. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Somber, January 27th, 2020.
Have a good time. Enjoy life. And it's life is too short to get bogged down, to be discouraged, or you have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Put one foot in front of the other, smile, and just keep on rolling.
Everybody at home, you give that person next to you whatever thing you have wrong in your life with them. This might be small or big.